Hello, everyone. We made it. Snow or rain, we will make it no matter what. Welcome to Camp Tanadoona. And really, thank you so much for being here. It's fun for me to stand up here, and as you all were coming in, I thought, I'm seeing my friends, and I'm seeing my neighbors. I'm seeing alumni. I'm seeing current campers. I've met a couple future campers. So it's just been a treat to see everyone come in. So thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Marnie Wells, and I am the CEO of Campfire USA Minnesota Council. This will be Camp Tanadoona's 88th consecutive summer of serving youth. 88. She's looking good for 88, huh? Camp Tanadoona, we are an escape just down the road. We are so convenient, right down the road from the hubbub of the big city. We're 103 acres right here on Lake Minnewaska. We often say this, but it's worth repeating. Camp Tanadoona truly is a gem in this community. She is valued greatly by the community. And many of you may be wondering, what am I doing here on this soggy day? Anybody wondering? What is this all about, this unveiling? Well, we're here today to unveil the master plan for Camp Tanadoona. Now, of course, and I know I'm biased, Camp Tanadoona is gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's magical. She changes people's lives. I'm seeing some of you going, yes, that's true, that's true. And she's a little tired. She's had a long 88 years of hard work. Both our buildings and our natural landscapes need to be upgraded with tender, loving care. We've heard you all say how important Camp Tanadoona is to you. We've heard you say how important Camp Tanadoona has been to your family through the years and to this community right here in Chanhassen and Excelsior. We also heard, and I hear this a lot, how much you appreciate the rustic charm, the very simple nature of this property. And we've also heard you want to come here year-round. Literally, now as it's raining, it kind of reinforces that message, doesn't it? We want to be here year-round, not just 11 weeks during the summer camp season. We want to be here during all weather types in efficient buildings, really being connected to nature at the same time. And that's why we're all here today. And that's why our board of directors, with their vision and their leadership, took the steps to commission a master plan. We're so very, very proud of the master plan that we've created with our architects. We have Paul Anderson and Adam Arvidsson. The master plan highlights what's the best things, the best parts around Camp Tanadoona, leverages all the beautiful nature we have here in our property. And the master plan also tackles those issues that we've been facing because she's 88 years old, so we've got some issues to tackle. But before we unveil the master plan, I'm going to show you a video that gives you a peek into how we shaped this master plan with your ideas and your vision. Paul Anderson and Adam Arvidsson.
Hello, thank you all for coming out on such a unusual spring day. It's unusual. I suppose it's an unusual spring to go with our unusual winter. We are here, as Marnie mentioned, to unveil the master plan. And there's a lot of things, I should caution you, that go into a master plan. We've spent a year at this, and we've spent a lot of time on site. We've looked at a lot of detail, and you'll get all the chance you want to kind of ask us about every little detail about the master plan after the fact. But to really move through this and kind of make this a little more exciting and legible, we're going to really focus on a few of the key features. Some of them Marnie alluded to earlier, really thinking about a year-round experience, thinking about really augmenting the natural landscapes here. So there's really 4 points that I'd like to talk about when it comes to the Camp Tanadoona Master Plan. The first is we really wanted to take a look at the entrance, how you come into camp. When Paul and I visited the camp for the very first time, we turned in on that little gravel road blob that probably, how many here have accidentally done that once or twice? And even when we found the initial entrance, it's a camp. It's you know what it is, but then there's suddenly kind of some crazy things going on with which way do you turn and all this. And then watching the day camp drop off and pick up especially, we thought, we really need to create an entrance that is worthy of the rest of Camp Tanadoona. So we wanted to create an entrance that's beautiful, that's functional, and that's very natural. This entrance has a couple of different elements to it. It first of all reroutes the roadway in. So we're going to come in off the main road and split the road. So suddenly you're on this boulevard, moving kind of in your own traffic way, and the exit is coming out a different way. And this will swing around through a restored savanna prairie landscape. So as you come in, rather than seeing kind of the back of a maintenance building and things like that, you're actually going to see the native landscape that Tanadoona could be known for. You'll pass through a grove of trees at the main entrance. So this is a classic idea of kind of compression and release. You come into the camp through this grove of trees and then burst out onto the savanna. And in the distance, you'll see kids playing on the play areas up above. And then you curl your way into camp, and the drop-off is easy, and it's separated from the people trying to get out. So this is our new entrance idea. The second principle of the master plan is to create a true village experience for all campers. We stayed in the cabins, as you saw in the video. We stayed over at Corona, and what a great, you have this circle, the paths are around the outside of it, fire rings in the middle. Bluebird kind of does that a little bit, but the day campers are sort of over there in a collection of buildings and frankly kind of associated more with a particular counselor than with a particular cabin. And so we thought we wanted to bring that village experience to all campers, including the day campers. So we designed a day camp village. So we've created a new type of cabin, and so there will be 12 of these cabins built over time, and they're not enclosed like the residential cabins are, but they're more a place to kind of stage your stuff, to keep your lunches, and to have a place to go to at the beginning of the day, the end of the day, between swim breaks and lunch breaks. And these are all going to be arranged kind of in a circle with a fire ring at the middle, so we can have presentations and have our flag raising kind of right there in the midst of the village. And at the entrance, there's a gateway here, which you walk through. You pass into camp. That'll be true for other parts of camp, too. Residential camp will get its own gateway. So you move into this space, and so all these day campers also get the true village experience without pathways kind of running through them and without sports fields right on top of them. And this helps with the transition, too, as we begin with day camp and as the kids kind of move up and get into residential camp. It's something they can look forward to by having this experience here. So the third thing we'd like to talk about is relative to that comment that I put up from our campers, which was, I like all the arts and crafts programs, but Shangri Lodge, and I love all the nature programs, but that basement of the Lind Lodge, not so much. So we really thought that we have an incredible resource here. And as I mentioned, we did a lot of research on what this landscape looked like before there were any European settlers here. And it's really not that much different than what you see today. I mean, we have survey information from 1858 that shows a similar forest composition than what we have out here today. So it's remarkable that we have that kind of ecological richness, which is also a real opportunity for exploring arts and crafts too. So we thought to ourselves, we need to make the whole camp into the Nature Center and the Arts Center. And rather than you go do a nature program in a particular building, or you do an arts program in a particular building, you can do that anywhere in camp. And the way that we're going to accomplish that is to create 5 outdoor living classrooms scattered throughout the various ecosystems of the camp. And those can be used for anything. They could be for arts, they could be for crafts, they could be for a yoga retreat, they could be for a business retreat. They're completely flexible spaces, open to the surrounding wilderness. Marnie's going to show you one right now. This is the tree house. And this is a prototype, and it's actually staked in the field. It's kind of up by the woodshed if you wanted to walk out there and see later where it will be. But these are really open structures, glass sides and a big vaulting roof, and really flexible, meant to have the landscape be the star, but to provide an enclosed space for days like this when you want to do an art project and really be connected with nature, but not be, soaked by nature. So we'll have 5 of these. The tree house will be one. There's a beach house. In fact, we're going to the master plan calls for one of these down by the shore, which will then also double as a changing area and some of the other needs that are down there. But suddenly you have an ability to program down by the waterfront and do arts and nature programming. And then 3 of them will occur in the front 40. We also saw one of the camper comments to use the front 40 more. So we're going to put 3 of those in the front 40, a wetland house, a savanna house, and what we call the watershed house, which the watershed divide between the Minnesota and the Mississippi River actually runs right through this site. So we're going to put one of our outdoor living classrooms right on that watershed divide. And then the last thing that's really important is that we felt that as we move through camp and move from one end to the next and go about our daily activities, and the day that Paul and I stayed in the cabins, we also then tagged along with counselors for the whole rest of the next day. How do you move from one recreation program to the next? And we found that in order to go from one end of the camp to the other, you have to kind of walk down the maintenance road and then past the administration building and across the parking lot. And we felt that it sort of breaks the continuity of that camp experience. You want to come to camp and then be at camp for a week. You want to be in the woods for a week. So the key feature of our master plan is to separate camp from not camp. There's a lot of things that we have to do. We got to bring garbage in and out of here, but that shouldn't necessarily interact with the kids. So what we're going to unveil now is the master plan itself. So this is the drawing looking down on the earth of what the camp will be. And I'll point out a couple of key features really quickly. This big brown line that you see here running through the middle of the site is a new pathway called the Tanadoona Path. And this is the main organizing scheme of the entire master plan. And it's staked out in the woods behind you with the bright orange stakes. This path will have all of the different features of camp kind of hanging off the sides of it. It won't pass directly through any of them. So your villages, you notice, are off to the side, a dining area, a welcome area, a new adventure forest. All these things will kind of be aligned along the Tanadoona Path rather than passing right through. And a good example of that is right now, a main circulation route actually goes through the Bluebird Village because you have to do that to get to the camp store. The main circulation route goes through the parking lot. And right now we're going to separate all that. You can see the new roadway in here down below. So we want to separate camp from not camp. So when you come through this gateway into the residential camp right here, you're in the woods. You're in the woods for your week. So this is the master plan. And I'm going to turn it back over to Marnie. And as I said before, there's a lot of detail on here that we won't go through right now, but feel free to ask anybody questions as you do.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Paul. Well, lots of questions I can see are churning in your mind, but certainly, as Adam said, we can take lots of questions at any time. This is a dream come true. This moment today is a dream come true. We've been talking about this as an organization for a very long time. And together we're making history. So remember this soggy day as a very important day. Camp Tanadoona is and will always remain rustic and charming. Camp Tanadoona will always be a place where kids can come and create new friends and build new skills. The master plan is simply about building a legacy for our children, for the kids we know today, that's all of you guys in the dining hall right now, and for all the kids we've never met. By improving Camp Tanadoona, campers are going to have a richer experience. They're going to have a deeper connection to nature. Now, this camp was built by our community. In 1924, the Minneapolis Rotary donated this property to the Campfire Girls. And through the years, volunteers, and there's many of you in this room right now, volunteers have made this camp what it is today. We continue that fine tradition, working with our volunteers and being in partnership with the community. For example, one example that I love to brag about is Mayor Tom Furlong from Chanhassen. He and his Boy Scouts have done tremendous work out here. Another example of the community chipping in is Lifetime Fitness. Our neighbors just less than 2 miles down the road totally redid our Corona restroom. And finally, another wonderful example is we have an extraordinary anonymous donor who has donated $750,000. It's a matching gift to support and launch these initial steps in order to realize our vision here at Camp Tanadoona. And by June 2013, we will have raised $1.5 million so we can realize that dream together. Some incredible individuals have stepped up to help us achieve this. And I'm very delighted to introduce my friend, Paul Mortel. He is the vice president of our board of directors. He's the chair of the Capital Campaign. And he has stuck with us for over 10 years. And he has remained a top leader of ours and got involved actually because his son was a campfire kid. Come on up, Paul.
Thank you, Marnie. It's true, 10 years ago on a rainy Friday afternoon, pretty much exactly like today, myself and 2 other dads hauled camping equipment and food out to the big woods end of camp so 50 dads and sons could spend the weekend camping and enjoying this amazing place. We had a campfire club at Blake School. All our kids were kind of the age of the kids in this room, and we needed a place that was big enough and that was unique enough for us to do this annual spring event, the father-son camp out. And when we got here, we were just blown away. The boys could roam, they could find their own space, not too close to their parents, or their dads in this case, but not too far away that we couldn't lure them back with a little bit of food. Dad cooked food, but it was food. It was hot anyway, and the lure of a campfire at the end of the evening. An amazing start to a journey for me that has been 10 years. The campfire club that my son was involved in stayed very active all that time, and we came out here while I was involved for 5 straight years and loved it. It's an amazing place. In the 10 years since, though, I've come to realize that Camp Tanadoona and Campfire, the organization, are a wonderful match for each other. The special character of Camp Tanadoona offers a safe, nurturing environment where the power of nature operates to awaken in kids the sense of learning, the sense of adventure, and their desire to learn. This is a place where trained, caring adults can mentor and model the kind of behavior we want our kids to emulate and to adopt. This place is a place where children learn that their background, their social status, their life circumstances are not the important measure of who they are, but rather it is your desire to learn, to grow, to explore, and to develop as a person that matters most. Delivering on those ideals is a daily challenge that's been going on at Camp Tanadoona for almost 90 years. Today we're here because this camp needs our demonstrated commitment. They need our time, our talent, and our treasure to work its magic, to allow Camp Tanadoona to work its magic for decades to come. We've done it for 9 decades. We need to do it for 9 more. That is why my wife Jane and I, who's here today, have made our leadership commitment to this capital campaign. Fortunately, we're not alone in this effort. Campfire Minnesota Council has a wonderful and involved and active board of directors. And we have an active capital campaign committee, and I'd like to introduce some of them to you today. Tom Henry, there he is. Raise your hand, Tom. Tom's been involved with Camp Fire for more than 10 years also on the staff and on the board, and is now leading the campaign's outreach to local businesses. Thanks, Tom. Dawn Campbell, where's Dawn? I don't see Dawn. Dawn is new to our group and new to the committee, but is a very active fundraiser and one of those people who, when we say what needs to be done, she says, point me in the right direction, and I'll do it. She's been a wonderful addition. Welcome to Dawn. Maren Christopher, I'd like to invite up who's a neighbor, and I'd like you to take a moment and tell a little bit about Camp Tanadoona in the neighborhood.
Well, when my husband and I moved to Chanhassen 16 years ago, we discovered that Camp Tanadoona was one of our neighbors, and it's a great neighbor. And it's really become an integral part of our neighborhood experience. We hear the happy sounds of campers. They're singing out on the lake as they paddle their kayaks. And I even love hearing the 7 o'clock morning wake-up bell. It's just part of camp, and then I feel like I'm part of camp. And I think it's just amazing that we have a camp of this caliber right here in the middle of this thriving suburban neighborhood. And I think as neighbors, it's very important for all of us to help preserve this green space for future generations of campers. And so I'm here to ask you to join me to help support this capital campaign.
Thank you, Maren. Thank you. And then finally, I'd also like to call up Bonnie Hullett. Bonnie's a camper parent. Her family lives in the community, and to say a couple words about it from her perspective.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, we live in Eden Prairie, and my daughter Murphy has been coming to camp for 6 years. And when I say coming to camp, not really just for a day or two or a week or two, but pretty much all summer long. So for myself as a working parent, it's been amazing to have a place like this that I could bring her every day during the course of her summer and know that she was having so much fun, learning so much, meeting so many new and interesting people, interacting with counselors from all over the world, and actually now having pen pals or on the internet with all of these people and staying in touch with them. So it's been just an amazing experience for my family. And when Paul and Marnie asked me to come on to the Capital Campaign Committee and kind of give that parent's perspective, so as we were talking about some of the different changes, it's like what would be the things that maybe all of you would be thinking about. So I'm kind of your voice, and I'll be sticking around here for quite a while afterwards today. So as you have questions, concerns, thoughts, good stories, anything that you want to share from that great parents' perspective, seek me out. I'll give out phone numbers and places where you can reach me while all of this is going on. But again, I'm your advocate here today. I'm representing all of the great parents, and we want to hear from you, and of course, ask you for your support and your love as we continue to build this wonderful plan. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Bonnie. And then the last two members of the Capital Campaign Committee, of course, are Marnie Wells, our fearless leader, and Jessica Ayers-Bean, who's the Vice President of Development for the organization. And we're ably supported by Pat Perrell. Pat, wave your hand here. Pat, who is our consultant, our fundraising consultant, and kind of a wizard in that world. Thanks, Pat. We appreciate your support. All of us have an opportunity today to look at the future, look out into the future, and imagine how the future we builds on the past that you can observe when you wander through this camp. This is a worthy campaign. This is a campaign which helps not only our kids and our neighborhood and our community, but many people's kids and the broader Twin Cities community and the broader Minnesota community. We think it's a worthy campaign, and I'm here to ask for your support in helping us from today forward put the kind of resources into this camp that will allow it to shine for the next 9 decades. Thank you very much for your support, and we really appreciate you being here today.
Thanks, Paul. I love the stories. I think that's where I get, I just get so inspired when I hear stories from all of you, and I hear stories from Bonnie, and I hear stories from Marin. You're part of camp. That's delightful. I love that. So please share your stories with me, and those stories are exactly why we are here. It is about building a legacy and making this dream a reality. It will take all of us. We have to dig in, roll up our sleeves. Please help us share your connections with us. Please help share your imagination with us. And we look forward to working with you on all aspects. I encourage you all to go home tonight and think, as you're huddled in the warm house, how can I help? How can I get involved in Camp Tanadoona? I'd love to be able to hear those stories that you share tonight over the dinner table. We all have a role to play. Please consider this your personal invitation from me. And some of you know me, and you know I love to sit down and talk, hear your stories. I'm so inspired by all of you. If this master plan makes your heart sing, if these beautiful images inspires you, I encourage you to become involved. There's certainly going to be more information coming in the mail. There's certainly going to be more information on our website, so we'll always be keeping you up to date. Campfire, we're always going to be around, my goodness. Tanadoona's been here for 88 years, so we're going to be here. So please come find us after we wrap up here today. And thank you for coming. And just by the mere fact that you're here, that shows me that you care about not only Camp Tanadoona, but you care about the kids that are experiencing nature. So before you go, I want to make sure that you have some treats. We've got some thank you gifts for you, and please take one home and enjoy the property. We're also handing out maps of the new plan so you can get out there and explore and actually stand in the spot where the new adventure building is going to be, or stand in the spot where the new pathway is going to be. So thank you, thank you, thank you.